The only situation that made the grown man Tupac Shakur cry like a baby. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, notification. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you would like to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of the straight game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, most people didn't know the information that was being disseminated across the, should I say, the airwaves, as well as in news publications back during the time that Tupac was shot in New York at Quad Studios. One of the most egregious stories that had been ran, as nobody knew what was going on or what really happened. There were rumors, there was a lot of speculation. And at that particular time, most people knew that, there really wasn't any kind of beef or anything like that we knew of between Tupac, Biggie, Bad Boy, or any of that. From all intents and purposes, from what I knew and what I saw with my own eyes, when, Tupac would bring Biggie on stage and so on and so forth, everything was good. And so from that perspective, the craziest part about it was Tupac was actually going to court at that particular time for the situation involving a young lady, right? And so when Tupac got shot at Quad Studios, most people thought, without nobody actually even saying it, right? Most people thought that Tupac had orchestrated an event that would prevent him from going to prison. Basically, most people thought that Tupac had set himself up to be shot, or shot himself, if you will. This was a real rumor. This was the prevailing notion at that time, and it was so crazy. But more importantly, it was believable, if you will. Now you have, like, in social media, you have people, bringing up and creating false narratives about Tupac. And those situations that I see constantly remind me of what the media had did to Tupac at that particular time after he had been shot. For me, like I said, I didn't really know what to make of it. You know what I mean? At that particular time, because it was like, it sounded believable. He was going to court for this charge, and all of a sudden, he gets shot, but he's Tupac Shakur, you know what I mean? And, this thug life and thug gangster guy, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it was crazy. And I even found this, like I said, from what I understood and what I heard, for people who were around, close to had their ear to the street, had their ear to the game, and understood what was going on at that particular time. Like I said, it was believable. But Tupac even said it himself. Check it out. And basically, that's how fast, if you look at the time frame in which Tupac mentioned that, right? That's how fast that they had came up with the narrative. Basically, he was still in the hospital, and this was the thing that was being pushed. I'm serious, man. It was crazy. So basically, Tupac shot, he set it up, and then it was made to seem as if he was trying to seek sympathy, if you will, from the court. Because, people were like, well, he ain't dead, so, they didn't mean to kill him, and they say the bullets just grazed him, and, it was all of this speculation for people who really weren't there. You know what I mean? The reporter included, who reported this, right? And so when you think about it, it's like, you know, yeah, you know, he was going to court, you know, he was bound to be convicted and so on and so forth. And, you know, nobody, you know, the bandage part when we seen in the car and all of that and in the news reports when he was going to court, that was on TV, you know, being pushed in the wheelchair and all of that. But like, you know, nobody really knew the intricacies of how bad he was hurt. But the fact that he was being pushed into the courtroom in the wheelchair was like, oh yeah, he set it up. You know, it was like some Hollywood scripted type of deal because he was an actor. You know, he got the people to, you know, it was, no, I'm serious, man. I'm serious. It was crazy. It was crazy. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. So now when we hear stories on social media now from certain people saying certain things about Tupac, you can understand it's like social media has now taken over for where the reporters or who would report in news magazines as well as newspapers and things like that, as well as, you know, on you know, the news, the nightly news, right? Social media pages and things like that have taken over that narrative, if you will. And some are believed and some are not. You know what I mean? But what I want to tell you is that it was a real situation back then in regards to that. And I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine something happening to you, right? And because of your reputation and you being a rapper, you know, the situation in Georgia, you know, and all of that, you know, now people are looking at you because they really, truly, honestly want to discredit you, you know, and you were shot. And they basically saying, nah, he didn't really get shot. They weren't there to see it. They don't know anything about it, right? But they basically come out and make a report and say, nah, he wasn't shot. He set this up himself. This was orchestrated by him to somehow create sympathy from the court, from the jurors in the trial involving a young lady in New York. This was created to create sympathy so that the jurors would go light on him because it looks like he's going to be convicted, or he knew he was going to be convicted. This was the prevailing notion. This was the rumor. This was the egregious and outlandish report that was, you know, being spread throughout the airwaves, being spread throughout the media sphere at that particular time. And what you have to know is most people didn't really have a discerning eye as to what that meant, whether it was true or not, because Tupac was an actor. So they was like, yeah, you know, oh yeah, he could set something up like that. You know what I mean? People were actually believing it, you know? And so that was the thing I think also that made Tupac so mad. You know, can you imagine that? You basically, no, that didn't happen to you. You know, it couldn't have happened to you. And most people, like you see right now, they believe anything they hear. You know, Tupac had a stunt double in Las Vegas. And the stunt double, when they took Tupac away, like all of this craziness. You understand what I'm saying? And it seems like the craziness is the thing that gets people, I guess, clicks and views even today. As we can see back then, you know, that was the same thing. To come out with a story and say, you know, oh no, Tupac set this up. He shot himself. You know, he orchestrated himself. He wasn't really shot. You know, as if the doctors and everybody else, the hospital, you know, the EMTs, all of those people were in cahoots with Tupac, you know, and him trying to fake his own shooting. You understand what I'm saying? That's how preposterous it was, because that would have had to be the reality. The ambulance people, the doctor, the hospital, everybody, you know, the doctor that came out and made the statement after, you know, what happened, the police, a spokesperson, all of them people would have to been in cahoots for that to be true. So can you imagine at that particular time, understanding what the reporter had reported, he had to know that he was telling a lie and just didn't care. As a lot of people are doing today in regards to Tupac over social media. I just wanted to bring that to you because, like I said, I was, you know, Tupac was a friend of mine and I knew him, like I said, but more importantly, that was one of the things that I think made him so mad in regards to, you know, why he felt the way that he felt. You know, it was like, you know, everybody was against him, you know, even the media, you know, like you said. And then when he went to jail, all of the stuff that happened while he was in jail, the who shot you, all of those things, like I said, Who Shot You was released 5 days after he went to jail. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. But like I said, most people didn't really know that though. And I'm not talking about from this article that I showed you. I'm talking about what was happening in real time if you were paying attention to what was happening at that time. You know what I mean? Like I said, how I met Tupac was through my homegirl. And so, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But like I said, that goes along with what we're seeing today in regards to the social media thing and how people come out with these outlandish ass stories in regards to Tupac Shakur. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's what was going on, man. The reporter, and like I said, that wasn't just reported by one reporter. That was reported by many reporters, and that was, if they reported on the shooting, then, they would kind of hint at that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, but most people said, it was self-orchestrated, it was, self-inflicted, and that, he only did that to try to somehow create sympathy from the jury, sympathy from the judge, and try to, prevent him from going to jail. Yeah. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.